we're all Dory the goldfish. We're all Dory.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I will say, no, I do have 2 young children, but I don't quite. She was forgetful, right? Is that?
Yes.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Like she had short-term memory problems.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
I have short-term memory problems. Hey, I'm Dory. I have short-term memory problems. That's the way it happened over and over again.
Okay. Sarah's saying she's not a goldfish, so you may.
I'm not a goldfish. She's a whatever fish. She's a cartoon, Sarah. Let it go.
The point, though, is that that would be like there are certain things that we can all talk about that would really improve our society. Man, that would be a great one.
It would be.
Just like, okay, hey, everybody, let's look back at that thing we were all talking about incessantly 3 months ago.
Yeah, but we don't.
And how did that turn out? And how should we adjust our perception of the next story based on what we learned? Wouldn't that be really interesting? Well, wouldn't it be great if our society would do that?
It would be interesting, too, if just somebody just had a sense of memory in themselves. But I don't think people see I just don't think they see the hypocrisy in themselves. Making such a big deal out of calling for violence on January 6th. Use me as an example. The New York Times used me as the prime example.
This is so frustrating.
Of January 6th. And that's not what I said. Here's what the New York Times, 2 days before a mob of Trump supporters invaded the United States Capitol, upending the nation's peaceful transition of power, leaving 5 people dead, the right-wing radio star Glenn Beck delivered a message to his flock of 10.5 million listeners. It's time to fight. Time to rip and claw and rake, Beck said. It's time to go to war, as the left went to war 4 years ago. Now, as the left went to war 4 years ago, clear what I said, but not in this particular context. We talked to the New York Times for a week leading up to this article. We gave them the tapes. We told them exactly what it was. We gave them the actual quotes. They refused to print them until a correction 2 days later. Mr. Beck did not lobby for his listeners to invade the Capitol, and a day later he urged marchers to really kind of channel your inner Martin Luther King. That's just adding that violence is just not who we've ever been. But the language he used on his January 4th show was typical aggressive rhetoric.
You guys blew this. You should have given him the January 5th show when you specifically said not to even go to the event. This is before it was a riot.
Right.
You were just like, look, there could be problems, and I don't think it's a good idea to even go to the January 6th rally. Yeah. And, that's right. You did give them that.
I did.
And they didn't put that in at all.
And
they
I
decided
gave them
to skip the January 5th show to include the January 4th show where you weren't talking about going to the riot.
Right.
Or the rally.
And the other was the January 6th transcript also. Anyway.
Right, where you said it was what was going on was terrible.
So I'm looking at my tweets from January 6th. I'm looking at other people that have tweeted on January 6th. And it's quite amazing how all of these people, here's Ted Cruz. Those storming the Capitol need to stop now. The Constitution protects peaceful protest, but violence from the left and right is always wrong. So they need to stop now, and it's always wrong. And yet, Ted Cruz, he's a maniac. But look at what, Lightfoot is saying up in Chicago. Look that President Biden is not condemning the, I believe, terrorist activities of those who are marching in. I mean, what is the definition of terrorism? It's to get a political viewpoint changed into the favor of the people causing terror. Well, if I'm in one of those houses with the Supreme Court or even in the neighborhood, I feel terrorized.
100% what it is.
It is.
And we should remind people that this has not even occurred yet. These protests, this firebombing of pro-life centers is occurring before the ruling has come out. It's not even official. Right. It was a draft. We have no idea what it's going to look like. It could overturn Roe versus Wade. It might change. We have no idea.
So during the protest on January 6th, here's what Kevin McCarthy, that radical extremist, this is what he said. What is unfolding is unacceptable and un-America, un-American. It has to stop. Because that's weird. I haven't heard the White House say these things. Why? We know why. And it's about time America starts just feeling comfortable saying it. Because the Democratic Party has been taken over by absolute radical Marxists who are looking to destroy our country and our unity. That's what's happening. And I don't put all Democrats into that. I think a lot of Democrats, just look at the Democratic Party as the Democratic Party used to be. And a lot of people are just getting their news from, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and they don't realize what's about to happen. And so they'll just listen to more of these lies. You can't lie the way this administration lies. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's lots of times that I would watch Donald Trump and I'd be like, that's not right. No, that's not right. But Donald Trump, and it's not whataboutism at all. He shouldn't have done it. I wish he wouldn't have. But, with Donald Trump, that going in. Has anybody believed that everything he has ever built is actually the most luxurious, the best of fill in the blank ever?
How dare you?
Yeah.
You typical anti-Trump extremist.
I know.
No, but I mean, he described that process in his book.
Yes.
I read The Art of the Deal when I was like 12.
Yeah.
And he goes through that specifically. He talks about how, you exaggerate knowingly. It's just part of the process. It's part of how you do it. And then you have to look at everything he says in that context because usually there's some sort of negotiation behind it. That's usually the way he works. And that's okay. I think we all understand that with Donald Trump. We're told, though, that these other guys are nothing but truth tellers. And man, if I don't see just as much exaggeration from them as we'd ever see from Donald Trump.
And I also see actual dangerous lies. Dangerous lies. What we're doing with oil and gas is not affecting this at all. This is all Putin. That's a dangerous lie.
Mm-hmm. That one's in particular bizarre because he went to his own voters and said, to elect me, I will stop fossil fuels in 10 years. Right? Like, I will not do all these crazy things they're doing to expand fossil fuel use. And then he comes back to the American people when their gas prices are high and says, I have done nothing to affect these prices. I've done nothing to affect the supply. In fact, we have more supply now than ever. And it's just these oil companies that just won't pump the oil. And then he goes back to his side and says, these oil companies, all they want to do is pump oil because they're so greedy. I mean, he's saying the exact opposite.
I know, because
no one calls him on it.
And this is the problem. We have an opportunity to get out of this right now. We could supply the world with oil and energy. We could supply our farmers with oil and energy. But we choose not to. So we are going to go through really tough times. Mark this down on your calendar. I believe in the next 2 years, we are going to see massive starvation. Hopefully not in this hemisphere, but absolutely positively for sure, we will see starvation like we haven't seen perhaps even in our lifetime. Massive starvation. And that's not counting what won't be seen in China, but on the African continent. And here's the worst part of it. We all know it's coming. Anybody who is paying attention knows it's coming. And what are we doing about it? We're intentionally sabotaging our own farmers and our own energy system. So when the time comes when all of these people are starving, remember it was the conservatives who were standing up going, guys, you are going to kill people with this. You are going to be responsible for the deaths of millions. We are not going to be in the position to help like we have in the past. And that is the biggest American tragedy. Oh, and by the way, other countries south of our border will also be starving. And how are we going to help them? Or will we just allow them to come across and help themselves? We are setting ourselves up for something beyond the Great Depression. I just hope that those within the sound of my voice are taking this next election seriously. And I say that knowing that many people in Congress and the Senate listen to this program. You have no idea what's about to hit you, guys. You have no idea. We have got to start. Where is the plan from the Republicans? Where is it?